building interactive lead magnets using Claude for a bunch of our clients. And so we thought we would get on and talk through how to do it, because the few times that we've shown people how to do it, I think it's a little bit confusing. So we can make it look very easy, but we try to go through all the steps. So we want to make sure we go through all the steps today. So essentially what we've decided at Winsome Marketing is we're going to make 2026 the year of no more eBooks. No more eBooks. AI has enabled us to make much more interesting lead magnets, right? Nobody wants to download and read a huge ebook. So we've decided that things like calculators, things like interactive forms, things where people get immediate results on something that they care about, something that's interesting to them, are a lot more compelling lead magnets than a really text-heavy downloadable. So we're going to spend the next little bit here talking you through that. So I'm Joy Yule. I work at Winsome Marketing and oversee a lot of our AI projects. And I'm joined today by Ashley Respicio, who is a colleague who knows a lot more about marketing operations than I do. So hi, Ashley.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, so I've been working on building a lot of these calculators, connecting them to CRMs and even just Google Sheets. So I'm excited to show you what we've been up to.
Yeah. So we're going to dive right in. And one of the things that we want to do today is so normally when we do webinars like this, we kind of like pre-bake the cake, right? So like in a cooking show, when they like get halfway through and then they like pull the fully baked cake out of the oven. We've done that on a couple things that would just take too long or be too boring to show you. But for the most part, we're going to literally do this in real time so that you can see like from start to finish, here's exactly how we do this. And one of the things that I think steps that I think a lot of people miss is that you can use AI to build AI, right? So like we're going to start the conversation today, not with a concept, with a very loose concept, but we're going to start today basically with a pretend business scenario and then use AI to help us come up with the idea for what the interactive lead magnet even is. Okay. So that's a utility of AI that I think a lot of people underestimate or maybe don't do as well as they could or should. So I'm going to share my screen. We're going to be using Claude today, but honestly, any kind of chatbot-based interface would work. So you could use Gemini. I mean, if you're a glutton for punishment, you could use ChatGPT, you could use Perplexity, you could use, I don't know what the other ones are, any of them. Okay. So how can I help you today? So Ashley and I were talking about it. We're like, what if we made a tool? So let's say I have a business where I build lifestyle recommendations for college students to enable them to build healthier habits based on a number of factors, including their course load, sports clubs, hobbies, social habits, and like health wellness targets or goals. I want to create some kind of intake form or interactive form that would enable a user to come to my website and input all of those dimensions in a fun and engaging way, and then get a sneak peek of the kind of recommendations that my app would provide to them. Give me some ideas. Okay. So we were going to do this with voice, but turns out like StreamYard using my mic, I couldn't figure out how to get Claude to use my mic. So just type it in. All right. So this is basically step one. You brainstorm with the AI about whatever tool you want to do. You want to make sure you contextualize it. So one of the things people forget to do is to tell AI like who you are and what the purpose is of what you're doing, right? That's really important. People both under and overestimate AI, right? Like they assume AI knows what they're talking about, and then they also don't give AI enough information. So it's important that you give it context, you explain identity-wise, like who you are, what you're going for, that kind of thing. And then you make it very clear, like what you want from it. All right, so we'll put all that in and we'll let it populate. Now, I should be clear, I am dealing with a totally untrained system right now. So there's no context for this. This is literally just a Claude chat from scratch. It has no project knowledge. It's not a custom GPT, anything like that. You could honestly use a custom GPT, but because this is a totally fabricated company, we have no context to give it. All right, so here's some ideas. So it gave us progressive story building. So create a day in your life builder where they construct their ideal versus current daily routine through drag and drop time blocks. That's pretty cool. And then gamified assessment journey. I don't like that. Interactive lifestyle audit. Clients adjust, or students adjust stress levels, energy patterns, and then choose your own adventure. I'm not sure any of those are 100% what I am looking for. It needs to be pretty simple and function like a form, probably, because it won't integrate with my CRM. Capture data I can use to follow up feeds. Let's say something like 1 and maybe some elements 4. Try again. So don't be afraid to force AI to like reiterate on something. Okay, it's not going to knock it out of the park at the first. And give it clarification, right? Like I need something a little bit different than that, how I'm envisioning it. All right, so a smart progressive form. Okay, I like this. So multi-step form with 5 to 6 screens. It builds their profile as they go. That's cool. So basic info, academic load, activities. That is exactly what I was thinking. Ashley, what do you think?
Yeah.
This, yeah.
Yep,
okay.
The first one.
Yeah. Cool. All right, so in the same chat, so think about it. I'm kind of training this as I go. Like I said, this is not a custom GPT that I'm inputting anything into. But it's going to be referential, right? So everything that I've said in this conversation, Claude has learned from. So we're going to be compounding its knowledge as we go. So we want to stay in this same chat window and then move on. All right, so I'm going to say, I like this one. Let's build this one out as an interactive HTML form that can be super engaging and interesting. Give me ideas for functionality first, and then I'll give you design, etc. All right, so you just want to make sure, like, the more you can kind of clarify the fundamental functionality and visualization on the front end, the less you're going to have to edit on the back end, which is good because once you get like the giant HTML output that you're going to have that you're going to use, which you'll see in a minute, at least for me, like unless you read HTML fluently, like it can be a little hard to like figure out where all the nuances are and then have Claude edit it over and over again. Plus you're using a lot of tokens when you do it that way. So the more you can kind of refine it in this step, the better. All right, so it's laying this out for us, and Claude's really good about like bucketing, so it's got some good categories. So the core interactive elements are going to be progress visualization, so an animated progress bar. So that's always really important for interactive tools, right? You want people to know how much is left, or they're going to abandon it because it's like they get halfway through and they feel like, how much, you know, there are 30 questions here. Like you want to have context straight so they feel like they know where they're going. So that's really good. Labeling, okay, that's good. A simple avatar icon that levels up with each completed section. I like that because that's kind of gamified. And then dynamic responses. Smart branching can be a little tricky. So I don't know if I necessarily want to include, I don't know. What do you think, Ashley? Is that going to make it too complicated?
Yeah, it might. It'll probably cause more fields to be created, like properties we'd have to create. So probably not smart branching.
I'm going to say limit. All right, you want to make the user feel like the output is highly customized, but for the purposes of simplicity and integrating into my CRM, this needs to be as straightforward and standardized as possible. Is that the right language?
Yeah.
Okay. And then engagement, interactive input types, microfeedback. Yes, the microfeedback is adorable. I love that. Data preview. Yes, that's very good because it makes people, encourages them to complete, right?
Yeah.
And then personalized recommendations. Otherwise, looks pretty good. Any other recommendations for me, or do you see any potential errors? Okay, so this is another thing you want to start doing with AI is you want to ask it at critical junctures if it foresees any issues, right? Or if it has any additional ideas. Again, you want to like, just like we started this chat with Claude as like our thought partner in this process, you want to kind of keep checking in with it that way because it's learning what I'm wanting as I'm going and giving it feedback. And so it's going to give me responses based on my thought patterns, right? And the more I do that back and forth, the more we get kind of in sync. All right, additional recommendations, clear labels. I don't like drop-down menus. What do you think, Ash?
No, no.
No drop-downs. All right. So now I'm going to have it go ahead and create it. So it's going to be actually now drafting the artifact in HTML. So it currently is just going to be building with whatever branding style it feels like. And so we will go in and deal with that in a second. I didn't actually pick a brand. What do you think? You want to use like Hire Writer or something?
Yeah, that sounds good. That's
right.
Very college student style.
I like that brand. It's very neon.
It's fun.
Yeah. All right. So while that is populating, let's see, will it let me go here? Yeah. So this is actually really cool. So everyone thinks that you've got to like hardcore train. So for instance, we're not using a custom GPT. What? But we can get an AI to very easily interpret branding when we just go in and give it a screenshot of a brand. Okay. So for instance, I don't know why that scrolling is happening so psychotically. We would just go in here. I just took a screenshot of the home page, and then I'm just going to clip it into a JPEG file. All right. And then it's going to pull all of the color codes and fonts and stuff and the style even from the screenshot that I took. And that's pretty much the extent of what you have to do in order to get it to brand something, which is pretty cool. But first, before we do that, let's just check it. All right, so this is what it is so far. So I've created your smart progressive form. Here's the interactive elements, animated progress bar, all the things. All right, so we'll just check. All right, so it would have first name, email address, what year are you in college, what's your biggest challenge right now. So let's go ahead and we're just gonna fill it out here and just kind of test it. So I'm a junior in college and my biggest is stress management. Next step. How many credit hours are you taking? I don't even know what that means anymore. I've been out of college for so long. What does that mean? Like 12? What's normal?
I actually don't know either.
Credit hours is like 12?
16? 16 maybe? I guess four classes, 4 credits. Yeah, 16.
Okay. I literally don't even know what that means. All right, how many credit hours? And then overall difficulty. So this would be a slider. That's cool. I like that. Okay. And then how many hours do you typically study per day? Okay, next up, sports and exercise. Okay, this is cool. So don't take, right now, let me just pause really quick. Like if you're looking at this and you're like, okay, but I wouldn't do anything like this. Zoom out. Like this would work for any business context. So think about all the data dimensions right now that we're gathering. We're gathering personal information. We're gathering, so we're gathering lifestyle or like information. So you think like, if you're collecting this for a business, right, you could collect like budget numbers for specific something that you sell. You could collect, how frustrated they are with the current solution. You could collect information on how much time their team spends doing certain tasks. Okay, so zoom out and think about the many, many contexts in which you could apply what we're doing right now. Obviously, this is a very specific application, but this is also could be generalized in a lot of different ways. Let's say I work 10 hours a week. I go to clubs for, I don't know, 3 hours a week. Like, what is the club? Like Farmers of America, volunteering. Let's say I'm super philanthropic. And then other activities like hanging with friends, 6 hours a week. Current habits. I'm a college student, so I get 5 hours. I exercise 3 days. Oh, I put social activities. That's okay. Okay, but there's a back button, so that's good. My current stress level is very high, let's say. And then what would you like to improve most? Select up to 3. Stress, physical fitness, better focus, let's say. And then see my recommendations. Okay, this is pretty cool. So then it gives a personalized preview, stress management technique, sleep optimization, campus fitness, weekly success. And then the idea, right, is that we preview whatever kind of initial recommendation. So if you think about you're trying to get somebody to, you want to give them a taste, right, of whatever solution you offer, of how much money your solution could save them, of how much time your solution could save them, of, you know, whatever it may be. And then you want them to put their email in. You want it to be quality enough that they then put their email in to get like a full report of some kind. Okay. So then this would be, they put their email in and they get a full report based on that. And Ashley will cover more like what the specifics of that probably look like. So that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. Okay. Looks good. I mean, there's a couple little things I would tweak, like the buttons and stuff, but let's first apply the branding. Apply the attached branding to this asset. Extract the colors, style, etc. All right, so remember, I took a screenshot of the Higher Eder website. So I'm just going to pull that up, stick it there. All right, so now it's going to take all the HTML coding that it did, and it had just defaulted into whatever colors it chose. But now it's going to go and apply the branding here. So you just literally take a, you know, screenshot of whatever kind of your best representation of your brand is on your website or wherever. And you can upload multiple, but keep in mind, like the goal like is to keep this in one single chat so that you have reference, you know, to the whole chat throughout your editing process. And if you add too much data, you're going to exhaust your computing power for that chat. And then you're going to have to start a new one. So you're going to lose all the memory. So just be thoughtful about how much you're uploading as you go. And then it's going to generate. Ashley, any tips at this point, or like?
The other portion that you could ask once the branding is set is to provide the email. So the email content, and that way we can get a preview here, because that we probably won't be able to build today, okay. But it'll show us what the email would look like, and I can share how we would create it. Yeah. But yeah, I usually, and this is actually how Joy and I tend to work. She'll like do the concept of the calculator and then hand it off to me, and I'll continue with the connecting it to the CRM side. And that's when I will ask for the email output there, but we can do it in the beginning now that we have the branding connected.
Yeah, you do all the hard part.
I
just sit here and let it code. And then I send her this giant HTML file. She has to figure it all out. Okay. All right. So as you see, just from that screenshot, like that's pretty cool, right? So this is the brand that I put in, and then, oh wait, hold on. So this is the brand that I put in, just a screenshot of that, literally. And then it extracted all the hex codes. It extracted the general style. It doesn't look like it got the font exact, which you would tweak. It extracted the gradient style. It extracted the button style. It gave me some hover, so pretty cool. I think it did a pretty good job.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if I can progress without putting stuff in. Can't. All right, so let's just look at it real quick and just see if there's any like major issues. And then I'm going to pass it over to you, Ashley, to do your thing. All right, this time we'll put health and fitness, let's say. That looks really good. Mm-hmm. I like the colors. Okay.
Yep.
All right, so then Ashley, I'm going to take the link to this chat and give it to you. Sorry, my screen froze for a second. All right, so then I'm taking the same Claude chat, giving Ashley access to it, and then she'll be able to open it and do her thing from there. So this is built. It's in HTML, so we have the code for it. All the functionality is built into the code. Now the tricky part starts, right? Like, so that's the easy part of building out the concept, building out the asset. Now Ashley actually has to make it work.
Yeah, for some reason I can't open it, but let me
see if I can find. It's called College Student Lifestyle Optimization.
I think actually, yeah, it's not letting me open it.
Oh, hold on, wait. I had to change the sharing permissions. Let me link it to you again.
Okay.
I think it changed the link when I changed the sharing permissions. Let's see if you can get it now.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, okay, perfect. All right, so I'm going to share my window. Perfect, okay. All right, so at this point, nope. I don't know why it's not letting me actually talk in the chat. That's weird. Okay. So if this happens, then what I will do is just copy all of this code here.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I don't know.
And then I'll start my own conversation and say, using the calculator, create an email out what a user would receive when they submit the form. So I'll just add in all that code. Spelling doesn't really matter, but I'll fix it. And then we'll see, it might take a little bit longer just so that because it has to analyze all the HTML.
Yeah, sorry, you did tell me to do the email.
It's okay. And then we'll create the email here. And then once this email is created, if everything looks fairly decent with emails, depending on your email client and your CRM, there's a little more tweaking that you need to do just once you put it into an email. But we'll at least get an idea of what it looks like because we want to see what that lifestyle plan in full looks like for the user. So once we see that, then I'll prompt it to connect it to, we're going to use HubSpot so that we can know how exactly we're going to save all of those form submissions and data into HubSpot. So we'll just wait for it to finish up here. But it looks like there will be some sort of a weekly plan.
You can read that as you go.
Yeah, it's probably.
This is like nothing to me. It's like my brain just like buzzes out.
Okay, great. So this is what this is how Claude has designed a customized email plan, which looks pretty cool. With a profile, you get the recommendations. Some are from the output, but it's a little bit more defined. And then you get a whole weekly, week formula or whatever, weekly plan.
So cool.
Yeah. So, okay. So we're going to go now. I would like to connect my calculator to my CRM HubSpot. Please, I guess you're not supposed to use please, but sometimes I use please provide instructions on how to implement form fields to create, to save the submission, and anything else I should be aware of. So it's going to give us integration steps to connect to HubSpot. So it's really will give you a step-by-step guide. So we're going to, it'll give a bunch of things. So right now it has an embedded HubSpot form or a Forms API, which we're not going to use the Forms API. I generally just connect it to the submission fields. So we'll let it do its thing. We're going to keep it fairly basic here.
While this is cooking, do you want me to embed the calculator on a landing page?
Yes, I have a page created called Webinar Test.
In our HubSpot?
Yeah.
On Winsome or Hierarchical?
Yes, Winsome. So as this, right now, what it's doing, it's creating the JavaScript for all of the backend connection to HubSpot. Sometimes, or usually what Claude does is creates those snippets of code. So what I'll do is take a look at everything here. So as you can see, it's giving full instructions. And it'll give you some code snippets that'll say like, replace this piece of code within that calculator code that was already created. And sometimes that's pretty hard to find, like where exactly Claude is meaning to put the code. So most of the time I ask Claude to provide the full code that I should add, the full calculator code with the JavaScript included that I should add to the site. So this does sometimes cause you to remove code, add it back in, but it's the whole amount instead of cutting and pasting, which can then lead to lots of other errors. So my recommendation when you're building this out and you're not super fluent in HTML or adjusting code or reading code, I would always ask for the full updated code to add to your website, which makes it a whole lot easier. Okay. So it is still working, but we'll scroll up to the top here so I can talk through. So what Claude is recommending is to create a HubSpot form, and it gives you all of the information about what to call it and how to configure it. And I'll walk you through what this means. So I'm just going to take a look and see through here. We don't need to do lead scoring. Okay, so it looks like it's making it a little bit more kind of overcomplicating things than more so than we need to do. So I'm going to say, let's simplify this. I would like to collect the user responses in property fields, build passed through a form on the back end. Provide instructions, the property fields and field types to create. I'm going to say build and implementation. All right, so we're just refining how we want to create it. A lot of times, as you get more experience working with Claude and building things out or any type of AI, you tend to get a pretty high level, not high level, but more in the weeds response. And then you just need to refine it down to like what you're actually looking for. So here we have a much more simplified version. So it's go ahead.
Real quick, because I just looked over and there's like 7,000 people on YouTube watching. So I'm guessing there's people with different CMSs. So just a real quick, like if this was, MailChimp, if this was like, just really quick, like give us a flavor for if other than HubSpot, like is this the same process for specifying contact fields, properties, like?
Yep. So you would, just as we started this, I started my side of of building this. You would first say what CMS you're using. So whether I've done HubSpot, Squarespace, and really simplified using Google, just a Google Sheet to capture form submissions. So state that in the beginning because the instructions will be different. It's going to be different in how the HTML is built for the calculator itself. So it might refine the calculator a bit and also how it passes through. So if you do have, like for example, Squarespace, you can use the form functionality in Squarespace, or if you're using MailChimp, I haven't done MailChimp before, but I believe there's a form creation there. So if you're using a form tool or a tool that has properties that can be created and data can be submitted to them, then you just give that information in the beginning because you want to start from there and then it'll build out the specific instructions.
Okay.
Yep.
Thanks.
Okay. All right. So this is going to give you your step-by-step implementation guide here. So you're going to create the properties. So as you can see, each property shows you, it gives you the property type, a contact. So when you're in HubSpot, let me just go into HubSpot really quickly so you can see. Oh, no, it's not. Hold on, let me just log in down here. I just want to show you what it's talking about. So in HubSpot, which might be different for other systems, but we have different groups of properties. So for example, in this one, it's saying a contact property. We're going to collect all of these as contact properties because we want to store it in the contact record. And we have so the group will be contact information, or you can set it up as a separate group. The most important is you have the internal name is exactly what what Claude tells you to do, and you have that in HubSpot. So you want those to match because we've had issues where it's been different. You run into a lot of errors there, and your field type this is a drop down. So even though on the front end it's not a drop down, on the back end it is a drop down. So it would be a drop down select, and then you create your options there. So you would go through each of these. And it looks like you would go through each of these and create the numbers. So it doesn't look like Claude gave all of the properties. It's just examples. So we can ask Claude to refine that. And then you would create your form. So let me just, for whatever reason, I was signed out of HubSpot. So I need to go back in. So hold on one second. Just signing into HubSpot. And then I'll show you on the form side what it will look like. So this form won't be actually added to the calculator at all on the front end. It's really just to pass the information through. Okay, I'm almost there. All right, let's pull it back up here. Okay, perfect. All right, so we have our form. So we've got our, now it's asking us to, or telling us to create a form here, and it will tell us our required properties. So in the forms, it says first name. So we want to click on that. This is in HubSpot only. So whatever your CMS you're using, however you make it a required field, do that. And as you can see from Joy's example and from here, we don't need the last name, so I can remove that. And then you have your email here and so on. So with HubSpot, I would just I would need to create a new property and add in more properties here that HubSpot tells us to create, like the course difficulty and those types of fields. So we would complete that full form, and then we don't obviously need to create a follow-up because we have that all on the front end. But we do want to create the form or copy the form ID. So once the form is published, so I'm just going to review and update because it had already been published. We can get the form ID right here. So if you look at your URL up at the top here, right after the editor, the backslash here, you'll copy this form ID. And this is for HubSpot, so it might be different for your CRM. You can also ask Claude, where in Squarespace do I find my form ID? Claude will tell you that information. It's really great. So then you would copy that form ID, save it on a text editor, and then you also want to copy your portal ID. So in HubSpot, you would also go to the same URL, and right after forms, this shorter number here is your portal ID. So you would copy those there. So that's your form, your portal ID and your form ID, and you want to have those on hand because that's going to help connect your calculator to your form submissions there. And then you're going to have your updated calculator code. So we don't actually have that yet. So we're going to ask Claude. I won't say please. I'm being very polite today. Update the calculator code to include the HubSpot integration. And then I can actually say, here is my portal ID. So we can copy that, and this will help from you having to change the code. So it's just a quick, easy and paste. And this is the form ID. So then you won't have to dig through the code to actually make that change. And then we'll see. So it's going to,
sorry, real quick. Conceivably, you could, as long as you have the portal ID and the form ID, you wouldn't have to like finish updating the entire form before you finish updating the code. Like you could do that asynchronously as long as you had the form created.
Yes,
and it was
exactly.
live.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and then what while that's going, I believe you added the.
I didn't yet because I want to show it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll switch that. We'll let it.
I can show that now. I can use the original code though, right? Because it won't change anything on the front end.
Yeah, because we're not going to be able to connect, like do the full.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I will show you guys then how to, and that was awesome, actually. Thank you. Like very good, succinct. So I'm going to show y'all now how to take the HTML code that you created for the form or for the calculator that we did and insert it onto a landing page. So basically all you need is a blank landing page for whatever your CMS is. So WordPress or HubSpot or whatever you've got. And then you're just going to take the, let's see what the most recent one. So let's see, this is the most recent version I have. Over in Claude, you're just going to take the HTML. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to copy the entire HTML. I'm going to go, oh wait, hold on, I didn't share this tab. So over in this tab in Claude, I'm going to go to the HTML. I'm going to copy the HTML onto my clipboard. I'm going to go back to the blank landing page that I created. Okay. And then however you edit code for your landing page. So in WordPress, a lot of times code is a block and you just need to drag the code block over. Like if you're using Elementor or something like that, you just drag the code block over and then insert into, paste the HTML into that code block. In HubSpot, we found the easiest way to do it is just to do the whole page as code. So you can just go into settings here and then you'll just go into advanced and then you'll just put it in the, header right here. And then you'll just give it a second. And then that didn't work. Why did that go crazy?
Let's see. Are there any extra blocks in there that I didn't remove?
Probably. Let's see. That sounded rude. Not. I didn't hear the end of what you said before I said probably.
Oh, it's a landing page. Yeah.
We probably. Not what I meant. Let's face it. If anybody messed up, it was me. Let's see. Well, I can just go. Let me just go make a totally blank one.
Yeah, create a new page.
Yeah.
And I will say the same with Squarespace, like you were saying with WordPress, it is also a code block. So I have not used Wix before, but it most likely is similar, a code block for Wix, rather than doing a separate, like doing a whole coded page.
Yeah. Well, and here's a good example. So like a lot of times you've got like a, you know, some kind of, you've got like your system pages or your templates and stuff. So I mean, I don't know if this is the right way to do it, but I would say for me, like the easiest way to do it is just find like the simplest one and then just delete everything else that's on it. Right. So you just go to like whatever the simplest page is, and then just go delete all the blocks that are on it so that you don't have those anymore.
Yep. So you're just left with the header and the footer, the global header and footer.
All right. Yeah. And so then we'll go into settings again and we'll see if this works.
It's being wonky today.
Do I need to give more space, maybe? Oh, it's because I have a sticky header on this page, I bet.
Yeah. The other thing that you could do, so we do have a calculator on the Winsome site that has the proposal calculator. So that is actually in a just in a part of the page. So
do you want me to do that?
Actually, never mind. I thought it was, but now it's.
This is
maybe just go to the proposal calculator page and copy that one. For some reason,
we could also see, what if we try to just put it in? Can we put code as an element?
I think it has to be like a rich text field, but you might go ahead.
We could try it this way. You want to try it this way?
Yeah.
Why not screw something up live? Wait, so then rich text, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is going to vary based on the template you're using. So we have Clean Pro for this website, which I usually love. And I actually do still love regardless. All right. So is that's going to then let me insert code right here?
So you have to go to the advanced, the advanced drop down on the right hand side.
Yeah.
And then source code.
Yeah.
See what happens. It just didn't pull in the branding.
So lots of opportunities to play around with it, but you'll probably be able to either insert it as, and you'll see, right? So we thought that would be straightforward because we've done it a million times, but that's okay. So you'll either go into settings, advanced, make it the full page. You'll enter it as a block, that kind of thing. But then you might have to go back, like we will have to do here, and do some troubleshooting, right? So you might have to go back. One of the things we've had to do sometimes is like you'll have to go back and fix some of the branding elements that don't translate because you have some CSS classes or things like that on your website that are overriding the HTML that you're inputting, and that's affecting the styling. Usually you'll see that when fonts are affected or button functionality is affected, things like that. So you just have to kind of observe how it's showing up on your website and then think through, kind of how you can create, how you can make it work better for you. That kind of thing. I don't think I want to change any global settings right now to make sure it shows up better. But what we can do is show you a couple other. Do you want to show like the proposal one?
Yes.
What page is that on?
On the home page, and then just scroll down to create my custom proposal. It's a button right a little bit further. Oh, no, I guess you went too far. Sorry. It's right after the...
I might have it cached. Hold on. Tell us what you want.
No.
Oh, I didn't even know that was on there. That's okay. We can go in on the back end.
Yeah, it's custom proposal generator. So here's the URL.
Coolio. Let me remove me and put you. Wait, am I bringing you back?
Sure.
Oh, Ashley, I'm falling apart.
It's okay. Yeah.
Okay. So this is an example of basically what it would look like, right? So you insert, is this a full page HTML? Yeah. So once the branding is cleared, if you don't have any header footer issues like we were having with the other, basically this is what you would see. So this is an example of what we have on our website. You can build a custom quote based on your business, based on what you're looking for, blah, blah, blah. And then it gives you an initial proposal of what we're looking at, and then you can get a detailed proposal after you fill in more information. So that's just another example of kind of a similar iteration of a calculator style that we've built for other clients, and it works really well. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. The one thing that I wanted to touch on before we finish today is troubleshooting. So before everything is just come into your project with patience because there tends to be quite a bit of troubleshooting that needs to happen. Claude will do a very general, the general coding that it's familiar with for HubSpot or whatever CRM you're using. But as you can see, like given the theme, and there are certain things that occur that will come up, we need to be able to troubleshoot. So we, to go along with this session today, we did create an entire guide. So I know that we went back and forth, ran into a few issues, but we have a whole guide step-by-step on how to do this, similar to what we did today. And at the end, there's a troubleshooting section. So let's say we had more time to be able to work through what that header footer issue is. We could pull the page source. So let me just share my screen in case you're not familiar. I'm going to share my screen again. Oh, I am sharing my screen, aren't I?
Yeah.
Okay. So what you can do is you'll right click and inspect, and you might not be able to see that. Oh, you can. Okay, perfect. So here is where you'll be able to see any type of errors that you're running into. So as you're running the code and you say, okay, for whatever reason, I'm submitting the form, I click submit, and nothing happens in HubSpot. None of the data is collected in HubSpot. I've connected my form, I followed all the steps, but it's not submitting the information. So oftentimes, what you'll want to do is put that dialog in Claude, and then copy. So you'll go to right click, inspect. It's going to open up this window. Click on the console tab, and then whatever errors you're getting here, you're going to just, you can just, well, I can't right now, but you can copy it there. This is how I do it. I just copy it, right click, copy, and then put that in the same message in Claude and say, here's the error code, help me fix this. Claude will review the error code and then most times either tell you, okay, your form is actually not connected because you didn't put your ID in the right place or various reasons, but it'll walk you through step-by-step guide as long as you're providing what that error script is. So in the case of, our calculator header footer issue, I would right click and then view page source and then just copy everything. So, let's see, just select all, and then copy all of the code and put that in. Say, this is the code, this is the issue that I'm running into. It's turning into like side-by-side screens, calculator and footer. Help me resolve this issue. And Claude will help you resolve the issue or provide suggestions. So basically, for troubleshooting, you want to give it as much information as you can regarding the issue. If it happens to be a workflow issue, say, this is my workflow I built out, the email is not sending correctly. You want to just to give it exactly how you set it up, kind of back, the instructions back that you did from what Claude had given you, and then help to resolve. So it might be a few back and forths to be able to resolve it. And I will say that anytime I've run into these issues, it does get resolved. It does get resolved, and sometimes you need to walk away from your computer and come back. It does get resolved, and you just need patience, but it ends up always coming out to being a really cool tool that is then we're able to use on things like a custom proposal generator. So this is just another example of a calculator that you could build if you just are tired of doing the preliminary steps of creating proposals for new clients. You can do something like this and have them fill it out before a discovery call. So yeah, I definitely encourage you to, I'm not sure, Joy, if you're able to share the link, but check out our guide, look at all of the troubleshooting tips, and it's super helpful. And any other questions that you guys have, definitely reach out, because it's a great tool and fairly easy to build. That can just be a huge addition to your digital presence.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's, again, like we had said at the beginning of the call, like we kind of want 2026 to be the year of no more marketing ebooks, just because people are burnt out, right, on kind of continually having, long text-based lead generation tools. I just don't think they work anymore, right? I think we're getting into an age where we have these abilities to use AI to make interactive, custom things that make people excited, that are more interesting, that are more engaging, and that support the idea of hyper-personalization, right? We're all so conditioned now, even in B2B, because at Winston, we work primarily in B2B. So we're not doing a lot of direct to consumer stuff, despite what we previewed today as just an illustration. So, multi-dimensional data, talking to executives, really high value deals, there are ways to build tools that appeal to that individual that can be, provide a taste in kind of an immediate report, and then provide, additional value that somebody's willing to give you their email address for. So I just want to recap real quick. We'll just kind of show you again what we made, and then we'll log off and let everybody get back to their day. So just to recap, we came in here, we talked to Claude about a pretend business that we were putting together to help college students build, more. So I have a business where I build lifestyle recommendations for college students. We gave it context. We explained some of the data points we wanted, and then a little bit about the tool we wanted, and asked for ideas. The first ideas it gave us were good, not great. So we kind of asked for some additional ideas and explained a little further that it would need, integration with our CRM. It did give us an idea that we were interested in, so we had it go ahead and build out an interactive HTML, and then it built out an outline first, right, of all the pieces that would be part of the asset and kind of the format and flow and all that. And then we did give it a couple of pieces of feedback to limit some of the functionality based on what we wanted it to do. And then it created a first version, and we liked it. It was pretty good. So then we went ahead and added a screenshot of a website that we wanted it to mimic branding for. And so it extracted the branding elements, including color codes and font style and all of that, from that image. And then it generated the form that you see here. And so I'll just run through it again. So basically we've got inputs of name, email, and some identifier information. We've got the ability to select biggest challenge. We've got all kinds of additional data points that they can put in with some sliders and some manual inputs. We've got it in sequence with a progress bar that goes along with it, which is pretty cool. So they can put in all these kind of different things. And then we've got some additional sliders. And then they add in goals, which was multi-select. And then they immediately see a personalized set of recommendations. The progress bar is complete. And then there's an opportunity for them to enter their email again for full access and get my full plan. And then Ashley had generated a full follow-up email. So that was the next step that we went over, full follow-up email that was totally branded as well, so that they would get the full report in their email after they filled it out. And then she went through all the steps of how you would then take all the fields throughout the form, integrate them in with your CRM so that you would get the data capture and the contact record so that you can then do effective follow-up. So that's it.
Yep.
I mean, I think it'll take you a little more than an hour to do it in real life, but
yeah.
All right, so we'll put the download for the guide on, because Ashley did a really good like technical guide with like troubleshooting steps and all that. And then we'll have the recording of this that we'll embed to, or the YouTube video or something we'll embed on that landing page you made, Ashley. So people can get that.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Thanks for doing this.
All right. Thank you. It was fun.
Yeah. Technical, but fun. All right. Everybody have a good rest of your day.